Dating abroad as Black women can be an incredibly exciting adventure, but I'd be remiss not to mention some of the negative experiences it can come with. And I'm making this video for educational purposes only, not to take you out of the game. If you watched my previous video about the 5 countries where Black women have amazing experiences and have found lasting love, please go watch that after this one if you haven't, so it can kind of reset your nervous system and balance out your perspective, okay? My name is Glow. I've been to 100 countries in the last 13 years, and these stories and my opinion on these countries are from my experiences and the experiences of my friends. Please know that I am not ruling out an entire country and all men in that country. If you have found love, if you are an exception to the rule, I would love to hear your story in the comments. These are just the stories that I think are worth mentioning. And in the end, I just want everyone to find what they're looking for. Okay, so let's get right into this list. Number 5, we're going down south to Australia. Australia, where do I start with Aussie men? If you have traveled in Europe for any extended period of time, you will have come across an Australian man. They tend to have the archetype of like the party boy. And I don't want to say, obviously, this is not all of them, but I think they tend to come across as a little bit more immature. And here you might find that many of them are looking to Black women as a box to check versus a person to appreciate. From what I saw, from what I experienced, and from what my friends have told me, I spent about 6 months in Australia, been there a couple times. It's a beautiful country. And I think you would also have more luck in Melbourne versus Sydney. I found Sydney to be a little bit superficial. The Gold Coast, it's like everyone, I mean, everyone looks beautiful. It's a city of beautiful people. I think that superficiality, it says something. It's a little telling. So, yeah, Black women, I think the best way I can put it is that you might get attention, but it won't be with intention. You might get gawked at, you might get hit on, but they might not have the best intention at heart. I also found that Australian men, it's almost like hard to take them seriously. I hate to just make these blanket statements, but they just tend to be really, I don't want to do the accent, but here we go. Like, oh, how's it going? Oh, yeah, you're right, mate. No, that's British. I keep getting them confused. Ah, yeah. It's just like a very, um, oh, yeah, nah. It's so bad. I'm just not going to do accents in this video. But yeah, just very, it almost feels like frat culture just never ended, even though I don't think they do frat culture in Australia. It just feels like frat boy mentality. And so you might struggle to have an Australian man that is going to be serious about you. That said, I do have friends that are in happy relationships and they're living in Australia. And when we chat, sometimes they just talk about, the subtle racism, the passive aggressiveness, sometimes with white Australians, women and men. So it just seems like a place where you might just be, I don't know, tap dancing into another form of microaggressive behaviors. And if you are leaving the US to get away from that, you don't want to step into another version of it. So Australia gets the number 5 spot. Number 4 is an interesting one, but Japan. Japanese men, you might have already like ruled them out for whatever reason. I think sometimes when people see a pair visually, we think, oh, does that go together? But I find Japanese men to be very attractive. And so um, culturally, though, they do tend to have, they're more shy. Japanese men are more shy, more reserved, more introverted. So you might find that you're having to do the work in terms of asking, not asking them out, but like initiating contact and letting them know that you're interested. And if you are someone that's looking for a man to take the lead, like I think that's a common struggle for many women, is that we don't want to lead in our relationships because we lead in business, online, in communities. We want to step into a relationship where we can trust that the man will lead. So in Japanese culture, it'll also be really hard to integrate. Japan gets a lot of, flack for being, and the thing is that there's such kind people that I think, in my opinion, Japan is the number one country in the world. It's my favorite country in the world. I just have an amazing time there. I find them collectively to be the most kind and respectful society I have ever lived amongst. And that said, they still have a very, maybe the kind of like living in a bubble where it's kind of like this exclusive club. Like you cannot buy your way or marry your way into being Japanese. You will always be othered. So that feeling of like trying to earn acceptance might be a struggle. And my friends who have been in Japan for an extended period of time and they were on the dating apps said it was just really hard to get matches. Like here and there, they'll get matches with other expats, but like they weren't really being chosen by Japanese men. So, this could be said about many Asian countries, but I put Japan on this list only because it is a top destination for many Black women, because it's just a beautiful country to go to. So, just realistically putting your expectations at bay. Okay, number three. This one is going to be hard to talk about because I don't want to throw my friend under the bus, but Barbados and Bayesian men. And this could be said about a couple Caribbean countries, but I'm going to focus on Barbados only because Bayesian women have told me this to my face while I was there. So there are some places, like let's take the city for Atlanta. The ratio of men to women is just good luck. And then you factor in the LGBTQIA plus culture and community. Yeah, then women in heterosexual relationships, just much harder to find a match. But in Barbados, you have, so we were out. First of all, Barbados is a beautiful country. Bayesian men are gorgeous people. And they just kind of like nonchalantly told me that, you know, the good men were so far and few that they were kind of okay with sharing them. And it was just like accepted that if you have a guy, that he also has maybe a couple women on the side. And so getting in a relationship with a Bayesian man is it's kind of like walking into polyamory, but maybe you don't know that it's a polyamorous relationship. So yeah, Barbados, good luck. Um, you just yeah, and I'll actually say this as like a side note because there are some other cultures. This doesn't have to do with being Black, but something else that I realized in a couple other countries. I won't name them because it's just I don't want to again throw any countries under the bus. But here's the tea, okay? And this is literally like the people of those countries telling me this. So this is not like me, spreading myths. This is just is what it is. So in some places, you have the nuclear family, man, woman, kids, and they, I don't know, you have a couple kids, and you get to a point where maybe the woman, because she is the housemaker and she's just tired. She doesn't have the capacity or energy or desire to please the husband anymore. She can then approve the mistress that the husband is able to sleep with. So the husband, he has like an allowance of like one mistress. And then the woman, because like she's kind of, I don't want to say turned off by her husband, but maybe at this point she wants someone younger who can maybe give her something that the husband no longer can. So then the husband approves the boy toy for the wife. And then it's like a happy foursome, but like not at the same time. So interestingly enough, this is actually just this unspoken arrangement that a handful of countries that I know of do. And it's interesting because while I could not be in a arrangement like that, I can respect that it's civil and all parties are uh, being adults about it. And yeah, it's just interesting. I think the more you travel, the more you learn, and you can come with your right or wrong mentality, but in the end, everything is just different. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's just different. And I just appreciated that people were transparent enough to like share culturally how things operated in their countries. So there's that. Okay, number two. Oof. I lived in Spain for a couple years, and so number two is Spain. Lived in Spain for a couple of years, traveled around the country, and while I had an amazing time, like made a lot of friends, I played semi-pro basketball, La Liga Femenina 2 for Basket Sabadell. I had an amazing time. At the same time, the constant mistaking of me for a sex worker is a part of a larger problem. So basically, I forgot. Africa is very close to Spain. Like if you look at Sevilla, like southern Spain, and then there's like a small body of water, like the Strait of Gibraltar, something like that, and then the African continent. So a lot of African women actually get trafficked up to Spain. And it's like it's a huge problem and it's beyond Spain. It's a lot of European countries. So what ends up happening is that they see a black person, they assume African immigrant first, sex worker second, and then if I speak at that point, then it's like, oh, American tourist. So I will go through three layers of judgment or objectification before I'm able to get treated like a person. And I feel like it just turned me off to a lot of Spanish men and just Spain in general. So obviously, this won't be your experience everywhere. And I think Madrid, you'll probably have the easiest time dating, but the south of Spain was really tough. Um, Even Barcelona, Catalonia was very um, just a mixed bag. But I just found Spain to be kind of weird. And like we had a little community, like black girls, and we just all had like we would just share our bad dates. So I feel like none of us ever had like success stories. So Spain gets the number two spot for that reason. Okay. Um, Number one, the UAE. Probably not a surprise. When a country has so much wealth and so many beautiful women at their disposal, excuse me, it could be hard to trust and to find a man that's willing to be faithful. I think the UAE is also very conservative. So if you are someone that likes PDA and you want to be out and about, and you have to be mindful of how you go about that. And of course, in all the countries that I reference, it's important to look up culturally, like what are the norms in terms of PDA and holding hands. And for example, in Dubai, if you were to go there with your boyfriend, or even someone that you were dating there, and you went into a hotel and you were going to get a hotel room together, you wouldn't even be allowed to unless you were married. So rules are very conservative. So just be mindful that when you are stepping into some of these countries, you're also adapting their rules and their way of living. And yeah, my friends who are in the UAE, they just, they say there's beautiful men there, but it's like the men have so many options. There is no incentive to lock one woman down or to be faithful or to even entertain the idea of a relationship. They might take you out, they might treat you well, they might, spoil you, give you everything that you desire. But in the end, are they going to come home to you? Can you trust that they're being faithful? Can you see a long term relationship with them? And in the end, yeah, it is it worth it? The stress and all that kind of stuff. Okay, that's my list. That's all I got. I will save. There's like one kind of not safe for work story that I'm going to share in the room. So if you're interested in being a part of that conversation after watching this, you can click the join button below. You can click subscribe, and then the button join will appear, or the link will be in the video description. And yeah, I think overall, just be open minded, be discerning, try to keep your wits about you. In yesterday's video, I talked about the reason I went sober was because I wanted to be more alert and aware. And I think dating can be a beautiful thing, but you also want to keep your wits about you. You want to have your street, you want to be street smart, and you want to still feel like, yeah, you're acting in good conscience. Like you don't want to just be blindly accepting and willing and open because men are still men, no matter what country you're in. So be safe out there, okay? My name is Glow, and if you don't know, I make videos every single day. Okay, it's a pleasure, a joy, and an honor to have you here. Please like and subscribe if you are new to the family and this cozy corner of the internet. And you can check out a couple videos here from yesterday. All right, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.